Welcome old school legends and car audio enthusiasts. Today I'd like to talk about our Orion Concept 97.3 amplifier and how we take the signal from our source unit to our amplifier and what type of cable we should be using. So we've got our Orion amplifier. Now these old amplifiers look pretty similar to today's amplifier with respect to our RCA inputs. So these are the signal that we get from our source unit. It might go through an external crossover or another processor before it comes to our amplifier. And generally we use a signal, an RCA cable, to deliver that signal. Now herein lies the problem, and I've run out of knowledge on this subject. So I got online and did what everyone does. I got on YouTube and I tried to find some good information, read some manuals, rang a few people. Again, it's okay not to know, it really is. And you just need to find the right people that have the information, and hopefully you get good information. So the question I'm asking is, what do I use? It's an old amplifier. Do I use a twisted pair style RCA, which has two wires to each connector, twisted? Or do I use a shielded RCA cable, which is what I'm more familiar with? Because I don't recall these being around very much in the 90s, so I remember the shielded RCA cables. So there's a very good video by Tony DeMoore which explains this on YouTube, and I really understood what he was saying, but again I thought, well, double check. I'm going to ask someone who's more familiar with the amplifiers, because I think it relates effectively to the way in which the inputs of the amplifier are configured, and that then drives the selection of cable, not the other way around. So let's get hold of Jay, because it's getting late and I like calling people when it's late, and we'll see if he's around and hopefully he can answer our question. Jay, can you hear me okay, mate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I know it's really late. Sorry to call you.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, you're okay with that? Like, do you ever sleep? Seriously? Do you ever...
I can. I got too many amplifier repairs to do.
Oh, what do you got there in the background, man? What's, are they for sale? Are they...
Everything's for sale.
Everything's for sale.
Right.
Love it. All right, mate, okay. I have a question for you about the Concept 97.3s. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, I know I picked your brain the other day on the concepts, but okay, I'm trying to figure out, and I looked online, I saw some information. Tony DeMoore's got a really good video on selection of signal cable, whether it's a shielded RCA cable like this one I've got in my hand, or whether I use a twisted pair style. I kind of understood, all right, and I understand that the amplifier inputs drive the selection of the cable, not so much the other way around. And I'm assuming there are some rules to follow to work it out. I've got some connectors here. I had my old Streetwires connectors, and I've got some nice Nakamichi ones. And I had originally planned on using shielded RCA, and I was kind of through the process of connecting this all up. And then I thought to myself, hang on a minute, am I doing the right thing here, or is there... So what do I need to know about this, mate?
First and foremost, you need to know that there are indeed two separate types of RCA cables that we have in the industry. You need to know the background of which first. For whatever reason, the industry went to the majority of twisted pair RCAs exactly.
Right.
These are 99% of the ones that you're going to see out there in the field for sale. On all of your, any one of your stereo shops.
Sure.
They're from range in price from a few bucks to a few $100s.
Yeah.
The coax style is one that is about 2% of the market share. Everybody looks at it as not flexible, huge, robust, looks kind of like a coax cable, if you will. And they generally shy away from it because of the size, and they, for the most part, probably don't understand it.
Okay.
One cable is built for one specific type of amplifier, one cable is built for the other. And the two key terms here are single-ended input and differential input.
Explain that to us.
For the most part, old school amplifiers all use a single-ended input.
Right.
And what that is you have a conventional RCA jack, which is on the end of your concept there.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
It has, correct, right there. So it has a shielded outer ring, okay, that is actually technically shielded to the board and grounded to the board, and then a center pin which conducts your signal, if you will.
Sure. Yep. I can see that. Yeah.
That's the simple version that every other manufacturer has used before too. Normally, your higher end amplifiers will get away from a single ended input like this and use a differential. Not very common. Okay, so if you don't know if you've got a single ended input or a differential input, very simple test to do is grab your ohm meter if you've got one.
I do.
Something like this. This is expensive one, if you will, exactly what you've got. Something nice and simple, doesn't have to be a lot of dollars, but as long as it can give you an accuracy of 10%, it could be a $3 unit or a $300 unit.
Okay, anyway, so I've got my multimeter and it's set to ohms. So what do I do to check?
Put one lead on the outside ring of the RCA jack.
Yep.
Okay. And then take the other lead and put it on the ground input going into the amplifier. So at the other end of the amplifier, in this case, the terminal that doesn't have the yellow connectors on it. Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you have single-ended inputs, you'll see something to the effect of 1,000 ohms or less, thereabouts.
Yeah.
If you have differential inputs, it will be much higher than that, millions of ohms.
So I'm seeing single-ended inputs, about 180 ohms on this.
It's exactly what you should see on an XDR 225.
Bingo.
222.
Yeah, so single-ended input, great, we've established that. So therefore I'm assuming it's a shielded RCA cable.
Correct. Your braided outside, single conductor in the middle, coax style cable is the type that you should be using for that.
Okay, so obviously that can go there, and that's ground, because that's connected to ground, that's ground. I see what you're saying. Cool. So can you walk me through basic terms? I'm assuming with these twisted pairs, from what I understand is it allows noise to come into the cable. This is trying to keep noise out of the signal. This actually likes to have it in there, but the way the wires are twisted and configured is that it cancels the noise out and it amplifies the signal.
Years ago, the industry realized, and honestly, I think it was Monster Cable that did this. They realized that if you had two wires running alongside each other inside of a jacket like RCA cables way back in the beginning had, that they got noise. Then they said, what if we twist those? And the physical twisting of that does cancel some noise out, and cables got a little bit better. But the industry never really progressed after that. The difference in differential input and twisted RCA pair is the fact that, yes, it doesn't have any shielding on the outside of it like the coax style cable does, and yes, it does allow noise to be introduced. The way that it's combated, though, is internally inside the amplifier, it goes through a series of op amps that negate the sound, or the noise, I should say, off of the signal and ultimately give you a doubling factor on your signal input. Right. So you need to have a system that starts with differential input and ends with differential input with the correct cable to get the exact noise-free sound that we're all looking for. In the case of an old school amplifier like this, single-ended input gives you a shield from your source unit on the outside of the cable all the way to the amplifier, and that shield stays consistent. Your signal line in the center of that shielded cable stays consistent.
Understood. That's excellent, because I could have gone to a lot of trouble of running this type of cable through the car, you know, putting all the sound deadening around it and et cetera, carpet back in, and then I mean, it's unlikely you're going to get a lot of noise induced, but better to go, I think, with this for the time being on old school amplifiers.
Yeah, you can use either cable for either purpose. For the most part, they will work, but We've all been in that situation where we've had a cable inside of a car, a twisted pair especially, and we've gotten that clicking noise or engine noise. If you would have done that with the single-ended cable from the get-go and done it the right way or the proper way, that would have never happened.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, like your wealth of knowledge, mate. You're in the speed dial, so I'm going to be hitting you up with all the hard questions. So I really appreciate your time again, mate.
I'm here to help, man. Call me up whenever you need it.
You're a champion. Okay, thanks, Jay. Appreciate your time.
All right, you too, boss. See you later.
So you've just seen another one of our project videos. So please don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow our YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook page. Craig really loves likes, so please give him a thumbs up.